Live from WQAD, this is News 8's Good Morning Quad Cities.
Sick of the shutdown, how people in the Quad Cities tried to send a message to Washington and what it could mean for you if there is no compromise this week.
And the start of a Tuesday morning means it's dark right now throughout the Quad City area, but the sunshine will come. And what will the temperatures be?
Thank you for joining us for our first look at the news. I'm Julie Sisk.
I'm Jim Mertens. This is Good Morning Quad Cities at 4:30.
James is
What are you
bright-eyed.
two up
You are in a
to?
mood today
I'm
already.
just so impressed that he's able to predict, the weather so early in the
The
morning.
sun's
at
going to
this
rise.
time.
It's no longer 2012. I'm sure it's going to happen. What are you looking at, a Mayan calendar?
I guess so. It's dark skies out there, but we got clouds and we got some moisture going on. How about that? Right on schedule. Some scattered light showers have been popping up. Not going to last all day. In fact, we're just going to let this go right through the lunchtime hours before we kind of dry off after that. Right now, not as nippy as this time yesterday morning. 57 degrees that we have, and there is a light little sprinkle shower going on within the Quad Cities itself. Like I said, we will see some sun, as Jim mentioned. Yes, so there'll be some breaks heading into the afternoon, and I think combine that with a kind of a west breeze, numbers I do believe will be right back in the 60s. Enjoy it because we do have some much cooler days ahead. We'll tell you exactly how cool those numbers will get coming up in just a few.
Downhill from here. All right.
Yes.
Thanks, James.
It appears a deal is in the works in the U.S. Senate that could end the government shutdown and settle the debt ceiling debate. Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid with Minority Leader Mitch McConnell ended talks yesterday, both optimistic a deal could be made. The plan would likely end the partial government shutdown and would also raise the debt ceiling at least through next year.
Those discussions continue, and I share his optimism that we're going to get a result that will be acceptable to both sides.
The House would still have to approve the Senate plan, but the proposal does not include any significant changes to the Affordable Care Act, which is what House Republicans were originally looking for in the budget standoff. Dozens of people rallied in Davenport last night, calling on Congress to raise the debt ceiling and avoid a default on government payments.
News 8's Megan Noe explains why Arsenal workers, retirees, and vets all say they're worried about Thursday's deadline.
They've earned every damn dime.
Veterans like Mike Malmstrom are fed up.
By the end of the week, we don't know who's going to work. Aren't you going to worry?
Disability payments, GI Bill benefits, Medicaid, even Arsenal paychecks. It could all be put in jeopardy if the federal government defaults on its payments.
Worried about Social Security.
And for a World War II veteran and a retired nurse, those payments are a lifeline.
Because without it, we have nothing.
It could affect me if they cut out services for the hospitals and medical doctors that serve veterans. I hope not.
Many Arsenal workers are still dealing with the effect of 6 furlough days.
We still haven't been paid for those days, and I doubt if we will.
And the government uncertainty is frustrating even for those out of the workforce.
My bills keep coming. Just because I'm retired don't mean I don't have bills. I have just as many bills as anybody else does.
And all agree they want a long-term solution, not one that just pushes the problem further down the road.
It's time for Congress to lead, follow, or get out of the way.
In Davenport, Megan Noe, WQAD News 8.
All right, thank you, Megan. If Congress fails to raise the cap, the Treasury will only be able to pay roughly 2/3 of its bills over the next month.
The government may be shut down, but the IRS still expects your tax money. The agency says today's deadline for filing your taxes, if you requested a 6-month extension in April, still stands. But the IRS says it won't issue any refunds until normal government operations resume. The agency also won't have any workers to take calls or help taxpayers in person. More than 90% of the IRS staff is on the government-wide furlough.
Still hospitalized, the 21-year-old Davenport man shot by police last week admits he was trying to run from officers, but claims that he did not try to pull a gun. In a News 8 exclusive, Ryan Franklin says an officer shot him twice after he took off during his attempted arrest. Police say Franklin tried to pull what appeared to be a gun out of his waistband.
I'm still in pretty bad condition. I have 2 gunshot wounds, both to the back that are point blank.
You were shot in the back?
Yeah, at point blank range.
The police say that you were running and reached for your gun.
No, I jumped up to run away.
Did you reach for your gun?
I didn't have a gun. I didn't reach for a gun. I had Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But you had a BB gun.
Here's my sister.
Both officers are on administrative leave. That is until the Scott County Sheriff's Department wraps up its investigation.
Some Davenport West high school students had a scary start to the school day when their school bus collided with a car. The accident happened at the corner of 5th and Division Streets. The driver of the car claims the bus driver pulled out in front of him. The driver reportedly was injured. None of the students nor the bus driver were hurt.
A Rock Island restaurant overhauled by the Food Network is now open again for business. The owner of Goomba's Big City Eats is talking about her experience on the show Restaurant Impossible. News 8's Jenna Morton shows us inside for the first time.
Welcome to Goomba's. It's been a long few days for owner Brenda Brewer.
Come on in.
But now she can start to get back into the routine of things.
It happened so fast and so much happened, and we were beat up emotionally, we were raised up emotionally.
Brewer describes her experience on Food Network's TV show Restaurant Impossible.
Restaurant Impossible.
The business had been open almost for a year, but Brewer wasn't making enough money to cover expenses.
Thank you.
Thank you. So she applied for the show as last resort and waited for a call.
And then I just broke down at my desk and I cried. I seriously cried because we've been struggling financially as a new restaurant here in Rock Island.
The show, led by host chef Robert Irvine, remodeled the inside, giving it an industrial look with a big city feel.
It seems a lot more upscale now, definitely. Really fancy. I like it. I think it looks a lot better.
No, you put the barbecue with the turkey.
You can also find a new look to their menu, cutting it down from 82 items to 30 and adding fresh ingredients.
Our new menu does incorporate freshly prepared foods. They're all made from scratch.
And while it's too early to tell if the experience was worth it,
we'll have an updated one.
Brewer says Irvine said something that will stick with her.
He said, if Brenda fails, he fails, and he won't let that happen.
That was Jenna Morton reporting. The owner said some customers are missing some of the restaurant's favorites, so they plan on putting some of those back on the menu. And the owner is still waiting to hear an official date of when the show will air.
A 10-year-old from Geneseo lived out her dream when she got to be a zookeeper for a day. Natalie Baumgartner won the Zookeeper for a Day contest held by News 8 and Niabi Zoo. Her father entered her in the contest as a surprise. She helped feed the giraffes, clean the stalls, and help with the giraffe training sessions.
I was excited because I got to take care of animals I like.
Got to clean the stalls! Along with taking care of the animals, Natalie also won 4 guest passes to Niabi Zoo.
Well, a big push is now underway in Davenport to get everyone to read more. Davenport schools, Eastern Iowa Community Colleges, and the city of Davenport kicked off the year-long campaign yesterday. The groups will now work together to make sure the community knows what books are available, where they are available, while also pushing the importance of literacy to the community.
I really think it will improve the test scores for all age levels. For instance, ACTs for high school students, and even the Iowa assessments for younger students.
Along with getting everyone better informed about literacy, the group will also work together to provide support to struggling readers of all ages. Still ahead of Good Morning Quad Cities, behaving badly. The one thing that parents might consider doing if they want their child to behave better.
And Love Thy Neighbor, why you may be surprised how many of your next door neighbors don't even know your name.
Not even you, Jim?
Not even me.
Outside in our neighborhoods, it's a little wet out there. We'll tell you exactly where the wet weather is falling, how long it's going to last, and how much we're going to get. Right after the break here on Good Morning Quad Cities.
You're watching Good Morning Quad Cities with Jim Mertens and Julie Sisk. meteorologist James Sahara and Storm Track 8 weather.
A magnitude 7.1 earthquake hits the central Philippines overnight, killing at least 28 people. At least 159 people are reported injured. The earthquake struck about 400 miles south of Manila. At least 10 aftershocks have also been reported. Cities as far away as 40 miles from the epicenter saw major damage. There is no current threat of a tsunami, but earthquakes this large can sometimes cause tsunamis up to 60 miles away.
Always that possibility, indeed. We haven't had an earthquake story in quite a long time.
Yeah.
Jeez. Weather-wise, though, things are pretty calm throughout most of the country. Of course, around here, we're seeing a few little raindrops going on, and we're showing that right now on our storm tracker. It's been a while since I've been able to show the radar, but that's what was going on across eastern Iowa and northwestern Illinois. Nothing too impressive going on, nothing really heavy. Let's go ahead and kind of do a little zooming in if we can. In areas, looks like just north of the Quad Cities, and it's not going to cooperate with me? Come on, you're not going to do, there we go. I was getting a little worried there that something wasn't going to pop up. Let's kind of do a little scanning here. And you can see just north of the Quad Cities, from Galena to Bellevue, Savannah, seeing a few raindrops. Clinton sees some rain showers as well. Kind of just enough to kind of wet the pavement in areas on this early morning. A few little spots going on even when the Quad Cities itself. Nice little band of some light rain showers now making its way into southeastern Iowa, just around Wapello, Minneapolis, Burlington, and even around Fort Madison. All this activity continues to advance its way off to the north and east. And it's a very fast-moving system. This is all associated with a very tightly wound area of low pressure just off to our west. Cool front is associated with it, and that will continue to charge its way eastward. So I do not expect to see this wet weather to last all day. We'll show you that with our future track starting around 8 a.m. We'll make this thing go all the way to about, let's say about 3 o'clock this afternoon. You can see all the activity will be well off to the east. In fact, I'm anticipating all this activity to come to an end, I would say, pretty much near or right around the lunchtime hours. Afterwards, then, we'll get this dry slot of air, so by the time the kids are heading back from school, we actually may see a little sun out there before more clouds on the backside of the system roll their way through. Possibility of maybe bringing a few spotty chances of drizzle, at least for hometowns well north of the Quad Cities. Exactly how warm these numbers are right now, a lot better than yesterday morning. We had numbers flirting around freezing. Numbers are now well in the 50s, as you can see, from 55 degrees in Kewaunee to 57 degrees in the immediate Quad Cities. Burlington right now, you're reporting a temperature of 60. So how warm will these numbers get? Well, once we get that break in the clouds later today, we'll get a nice west-southwest wind. Still, that air is not too bad behind it, so I do believe numbers will be right back in those 60s, mid to upper 60s from Wapello heading into Galesburg, Burlington as well. We'll go about 63 degrees in Maquoketa, 65 degrees over in Clinton, and in the immediate Quad Cities, looking at a daytime high very similar to yesterday, with a high close to 67 degrees. So a little morning shower, then breaks in the clouds, but very breezy by this afternoon. The backside of this system with the clouds will hang on as we go through the morning hours come tomorrow, and safe to say really through most of the day come tomorrow as well, before we see a nice break heading into our forecast on Thursday. Afterwards then, we'll be watching another line of clouds getting itself together to the north and west. This is 10 o'clock on Thursday night, and behind this boundary, guess what? Another reinforcing shot of some cold air. It's going to get downright chilly heading into the weekend. There could be a little shower possible as we get into about late Friday night, Saturday morning. Nothing really significant, but it's all part of that approaching frontal boundary that will bring down some pretty chilly air for us heading into the weekend. Maybe in some spots a possibility of some frost before the weekend does come to an end. Seasonally cool day will be as some morning showers will be moving on by. 66 to 67 degrees for the daytime high. Partly to mostly cloudy skies tonight. Will be a slightly cooler night out there as the low will dip down to 42 degrees. Then we'll be seeing daytime highs a little bit cooler, upper 50s Wednesday, Thursday, mid-50s heading into Friday as that front from the northwest pulls on in. And wow, look at the weekend. It could be a chilly one at that. Could be seeing a possible shower on Saturday. On the backside of this frontal boundary, daytime highs only around 50 degrees. Not much warmth heading into early next week either. Looks like those numbers will stay below normal as well.
All right. right, thanks, James.
Well, good news if you have to rake up leaves in your yard. Free yard waste pickup has started in several cities in our area. People living in Moline, Rock Island, and Bettendorf can now have those bags picked up at no charge. In East Moline, pickup will start tomorrow, and in Davenport, it starts next Monday. Turning to business, reports of progress in Washington is having a positive effect on Wall Street.
And the price of your favorite candy bar could be going up. Those are some of the headlines topping business news this morning. Stocks close higher on Monday as Washington continues to make progress on budget negotiations. There was still no agreement on day 14 of the government shutdown, but lawmakers said they are close to a deal to avert default and end the shutdown. The Dow Jones gained 64 points to end the day at 15,301 after being down as much as 100 points earlier in the day. Meanwhile, the S&P 500 rose nearly 7 points and the Nasdaq saw a gain of 23 points. General Motors has raised the price of its redesigned 2014 full-size pickups by $1,500 to pay for the $1,500 rebate being offered for most models. Shoppers have come to expect a rebate and don't want to pay much attention to whether the price of the vehicle has gone up. Additionally, it's easier to get financing when a rebate becomes part of the down payment, which is what lenders want to see. So dealers offer the rebates to help buyers qualify for a loan. The price of chocolate is going up. Rising demand in emerging markets and bad weather in key cocoa-producing countries is pushing up the cost of the key ingredients. The price of cocoa butter is currently at a 4-year high, rising 70% in the past year. A director for the International Cocoa Organization says the industry will either increase the price, reduce the cocoa content, or reduce the size of their products. And it looks like another version of Apple's MacBook could be on the market next year. There's already an 11-inch and a 13-inch. Now a 12-inch MacBook could be added to the list. According to reports, this version will have a Retina display and better resolution. There's also word that Apple is working on a more affordable desktop computer.
Still ahead on Good Morning Quad Cities, not recommended. The top 5 vitamins you should not take unless your doctor recommends it. It's just ahead on Good Morning Quad Cities.
Time right now is 4:51. In your health this morning, a new study says children with irregular bedtimes may be more likely to experience behavior problems at school and at home. Researchers found that kids without a regular bedtime every night were more likely to have emotional problems, poor eating habits, and even lower grades. The good news is once those children were put on a regular schedule, those problems cleared up.
A chemical found in dozens of household items may double a woman's risk of miscarriage. Researchers found pregnant women with the highest level of BPA in their blood were 80% more likely to miscarry. BPA is a chemical found in many plastics and canned food containers. The World Health Organization says pregnant women should avoid canned food and to stop heating food in plastic containers. The FDA insists that the levels of BPA in products on the market now are safe, though. Licorice could be the key to beating the most deadly form of skin cancer, but it's not in the candy. It's rather in the licorice root. Researchers say a compound found in licorice root slowed the growth of malignant melanoma cancer cells during laboratory tests. There are now companies trying to turn the compound into a form of medicine, but researchers warn that could be years away from happening.
Well, many of us take vitamin supplements.
Yes, they do. But now Forbes magazine is releasing a list of vitamins you should not take if you don't have a serious deficiency. They say taking vitamin C may help with a cold. Taking too much of it can increase the risk of kidney stones. Taking large doses of vitamin A can be toxic and can increase your risk of lung cancer. And too much vitamin B6 can cause severe nerve damage. A surplus of vitamin E and other multivitamins over a long period of time can increase the risk of an early death. The authors recommend talking to your doctor before taking any supplement and suggest getting your vitamins from food.
Well, how well do you know your neighbors? According to a new study, not very well. According to people surveyed, more than 1/3 of them said they would not recognize their neighbors if they saw them on the street or even in a police lineup. Even more astounding, 51% cannot remember the first name of the people that live next door to them. A couple of reasons for this are people moving with more frequency these days, and we spend less time communicating face to face. We are more cautious about who we welcome also into our homes. Well, what can we expect temperatures to look like for today? James will be back with the latest on that in our forecast.
But first, here's one of the events you want to spotlight for today. A ceremony this morning will mark the end of Hispanic Heritage Month in the Quad Cities. The League of United Latin American Citizens, known as LULAC, will hold the closing ceremonies at Davenport's LeClaire Park starting at 11. U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary will toss floral wreaths in the Mississippi River, honoring each branch of the military. All veterans organizations will be recognized. You're watching the Quad Cities First News on Good Morning Quad Cities at 4:30.
Welcome back. Most people would worry about thieves breaking into their car.
But in Jasper, Georgia, it's bears, and they're getting into cars as well. A family got quite the surprise when they spotted two bears rummaging through their family car. Local sheriff had blamed bears for a series of recent break-ins, but no one believed him, and now he says he's got the proof. There it is. According to witnesses, the bears opened the car doors just as easily as a human does. When the bear found nothing of interest in the car, they left. Good thing they didn't leave the keys in, or else they'd be a whole different type of story.
Don't leave snacks in there. They probably smell something, right?
Yeah, I would
they
think
want the
so.
food.
I think it would have been funny if it was a bait car, you know. They locked the keys and
Oh, like the cable show.
Yeah, they could
Yeah,
videotape
that's-
what the bear is doing.
Now that you explain it, it's much funnier.
That's good.
It's early.
Yeah, it's early. Trying to break the monotony here. Let's go and take a look at our satellite radar. Yeah, we got a little wet weather still going on. The good news is it's not going to last all day. We'll tell you exactly how long the wet weather is going to last, what that means for temperatures too today, coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, James. Still ahead on Good Morning Quad Cities, wheeling and dealing, the latest on the government shutdown and the new hope that the political mess will be close to an end.
Plus, more jokes from Shecky Zahara coming up in the next hour. The 5 o'clock hour. Shecky Zahara, your new name. This is Good Morning Quad Cities.